Hey you guys, it's me. I am Lisa Concepcion, and tonight I wanted to come at you with a Facebook Live about a topic that's coming up a lot in my coaching practice. I am Lisa Concepcion. I'm a love life coach, and I coach specifically very success-driven type A, go-getter type people, right? They got their careers, they got their businesses, they're holding it down. However, it's often at the expense of their love lives. So I am coming to you guys tonight because there's some stuff that's happening in, my coaching practice. And when I talk to people, and it seems like there's a constant repetitive vibe happening of the same concerns and the same things happening over and over, I use it as inspiration to do a Facebook Live on a topic, because I figure if, a bunch of people are going through the same thing in my coaching practice, it's probably relevant to the people who are out there, and maybe you could benefit a bit from the message. So right now I'm going to get into this phenomenon and even share a bit of my story of this workaholic kind of mindset of like, get up, get ready for work, commute, come back, eat, gym, maybe, and like crash on the couch. And then you're feeling overwhelmed all the time. There's always so much to do. You're saying yes when you really mean no. People are coming at you from work, and they're asking you to work extra or take on more. It's very 24/7 lifestyle. So people have access to you all the time, right? So you have people at work with, cell access. Then they can go on social media and see like if you're, busy. It's crazy. It's like there's a lot of access now to people, and they feel incredibly overwhelmed, more so now I think than ever. And so what we need to do are certain things to really care for ourselves, nourish the relationships that we have, whether it be with friends or if we're in a relationship, the significant other, the other person that you're in a relationship with. And if you're single and you're looking for someone and you simply don't have the time or the energy, that's a problem, because days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and then before you know it, you're looking around at like, where the hell did this year go? We're coming up now on the holidays, and a lot of time we have people who are feeling the pressure of, oh, I got to meet somebody, or they give up, or they just say, oh, forget it, I'm just going to wait till the beginning of the year to even entertain dating again. And even for people who are in relationships, this is the time where you get into that like family hustle, that mode where you're just so busy you don't even know. Like, I remember that so well when I would work in New York City, and then I would look at my time from Thanksgiving to Christmas, and I'd be like, okay, when am I going to go food? When am I going to get food? When am I going to set up the tree? When am I going to do all these things, right? Like overwhelming. So next week I was asked by the very nice people at Green Monkey here on South Beach. Green Monkey is a yoga studio and a wellness facility. And they asked me to collaborate with them and do a really cool event on overwhelm and handling overwhelm, and how when we feel overwhelmed in our lives, the implications that has on our social life, especially our love life. And I often coach with people, like I said, who are very on point when it comes to their careers. They are doing very well for themselves. They're very involved in their businesses. They're very directed and disciplined in what it is they want to achieve. And oftentimes they are sacrificing their love lives because of their work commitments. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about the reasoning and the things that we need to think about when we're looking at overwhelm, and particularly when we're looking at the times in our lives where we say yes to things when we really mean no, and we're working and working and working, and ultimately it's not really going anywhere, or it's not fulfilling us enough, or we're just kind of doing it for every other reason than the actual reason, which is like, why do you do the work you do? What's the purpose? Is there a greater purpose? Or is it more to prevent something from happening? So it's like, people who are working so hard because they're in a place of fear and scarcity, and they're like, oh, I have to work so hard because if I don't, I'm going to get let go of this job and someone else is going to take my place. Or I'm not going to make my quota, or I'm not going to, it's always like rooted from a place of lack. And not a place of, oh, I'm creating something amazing. I love my job. I love the people. I love everything that we're working on together. And it's just nice. And I get consumed in it. And it's a more authentic, happy, harmonious place of work. 90% of the people that I am chatting with, they're not in that place. They're not in that place. If you ask them, what would you be doing with your life if money didn't matter? What would you be doing with your life if little genie came out and said, you get 3 wishes, how do you want to live your life? They really realize that the way they're living it is not the way they would ask the genie to live it. And that's a problem, right? So this is the kind of thing that trickles into your love life. Now, how so? Okay, well, let's say you are in a relationship and you are living what I call the treadmill or the hamster wheel lifestyle, which I lived and my ex-husband lived. We both lived it, where we lived in the suburbs of Manhattan, and we both, at one point, we both worked in the city, and then he switched where he was working out on in Jersey. But needless to say, our weekday life was very routine. It was very safe, like secure, because it was very regimented and in a routine, which is like death to the mind. It made my mind mush. And I would believe my ex-husband also. And it was very dangerous because there was no growth in it. There was no challenge. There was no getting out of comfort zone. So our lives became this dynamic where we went to sleep, woke up, got ready for work, left for work, worked. And when I say left for work, there was a 1 hour, 1.5 hour commute for me, which was soul sucking. And then I would work, and then I would return back to my suburban house in New Jersey, commuting again. And it was awful, awful commute, awful, awful. And I did this for 12 years and probably maybe a little less, 9 years. But the bottom line was that it was a very soul-sucking existence, right? And yet my ex-husband and I, we got along great. Like, we were buds. We were total best friends. Like, it was great. But because of our work life, and I can speak for myself on this, I was exhausted. I was drained. All I wanted to do was come home, eat something, and veg out in front of the television. I didn't want to think about anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I was just like, I'm done. I just want to be curled up. Not to mention, up there, the weather is freezing for a majority of the year. I just wanted to be like sofa girl. And you know, my ex-husband was so not that guy, yet he became that guy because of where we were and how we were living. And so what I encourage you guys to do is get involved in things, figure it out. You have got to have something more going on than your jobs, and you cannot have it where you're living this hamster wheel existence where honestly it's like Groundhog's Day, and the only thing that shows you the difference between one day to the next is like the clothes you're wearing. There were points where I didn't even know what day it was. I was like, wait, is it Tuesday? Is it Thursday? Like what's going on? Like, it was just melded in one day to the next. Now that's for the couples, right? So what did it lead to? It lead to a shitty sex life, like too tired to do anything, too tired for sex, too tired to even have conversations. We're sitting on the couch, we're eating, we're not really having any meaningful conversations. We're not discussing goals. We're not setting goals because we're so wrapped up in the minutia of the day-to-day that we think that this is all there is. And so it gets very boring, and that's where danger sets in, because that's when you start to look for things outside of yourself, outside of the marriage, to make things more exciting. And, you know, it's very dangerous territory. So the work-life balance thing has got to happen. It is a must with couples. And it's one of the things that I help couples to achieve. In fact, I recently completed a coaching program with this lovely couple from, in Tennessee. And they had that as one of their concerns. And one of the things that they wanted to handle is getting mastery over their time and getting disciplined over how they're spending their free time and really having that quality time together. And, you know, quality time is not just sitting on a couch with your phone, scrolling through social media or watching TV and not having any words spoken between you. I mean, yes, it is nice to have that person, to have uncomfortable, you know, comfortable silences, you know, where you're just chilling, and that's fine. There's certainly a place for that. But there's also a place where maybe you can read a book together and do like a book club, and just, you know, every night you're reading for an hour together and you're in something that's bettering yourselves. Maybe it's an online course that you sit and you do the iPad. Maybe it's coaching. Maybe it's just always up a level. Just look for the next thing that you really want to do to expand and to create something as a team that you can do together, and that bonds you tighter, and it opens the discussion to things that are more elevated, not just the minutia of work and bullshit and all that. So that handles that. But then also I have people who are single and they are in worker bee mode all the time, very overwhelmed, no time to date. When am I going out? I'm so exhausted. Or, you know, they get into that solitude place where it's awesome to revel in your solitude. Believe me, amazing. Like, love it. Look, I'm alone. I love it. I'm not alone. I'm with Taz and I'm with myself. Best relationship ever right here. But the deal is, sometimes people who are single can't get the motivation to go out and do things and you know, take themselves out to dinner. They have like hang-ups and things, or simply they work so hard where they just dive into work. And think about that when you're going out and you're trying to date and you are in a situation where you're canceling dates because you're so tired, or you're just not in the mindset to be available to anybody because you're so wrapped up in your work mindset. And I'm all for goals. I'm all for pushing yourself and having a vision. Hi, Miguel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm talking about workaholics who are making their love lives out of whack because they're paying too much attention to their work life and not anything else. So if anybody can relate to this, Lord knows I had my moments where I was like, woo, all about the work mode. And you know, what's dangerous is when it actually makes you physically ill. So the deal is, when people are too much in one direction in their life and they're depleted and they're not taking care of themselves and they're not answering what it is that they need for themselves, eventually your body will slow you down. That's when you get sick. That's when you get blasted migraine headaches. That's when you get, you know, congestion, asthma, any kind of anything whacked out in your body is dis-ease. It's a form of lack of ease in your life. When you do not have ease in your life, you have disease, and so it manifests itself with being sick. So one of the things that I was saying was that when you go on a date, like let's say you're in this mode and you're like, okay, I work a lot, but I do want to meet somebody great and I'm going to go on a date. If all you're doing is working, what do you have to talk about other than work when you sit at that table and you're getting to know somebody? I have this as a complaint. It's a lot of stuff with women and a lot of stuff with men. So here's what happens. The men tell me oftentimes when they're dating that the women talk about their jobs and they talk about their kids if they're moms, and it consumes them. And they don't have a story, or they don't have anything really to tell about their own lives, their own interests, they're in such a give mode that they kind of speak from this position of complaining, and as if it's like banging drum of all the stuff that they have, and they feel so overwhelmed. And when you're telling a story that way, the person is receiving it and making the presumption that you're not available. So I find oftentimes women that they're very busy, regardless of whether or not they have children or whatever, but they're very busy in their lives. And finally they get together with a guy for a date, and they are rushing to the place to meet the guy, and they have to deal with the valet or deal with the parking or the Uber or whatever, and they're hustling. They're like, oh, they're frazzled, right? So they blow into the place, they sit down, they're like, oh, I need a drink. Like, it's that energy of, oh, you know, like that hurried kind of vibe. It's just not, there's no ease and there's no grace in that. And there's no like, yeah, I'm here for you. Like, let's hang out and take a little ease off, like chill. Like, let's get into a chill mode and get to know each other. And oftentimes, women who are going at it, like they just don't have the bandwidth. They don't even know how to settle themselves down and get out from their heads and into more of their heart space. I have this problem. Oh my God. And, you got to get in, ladies, my God, like that's when men say that they're feeling some kind of energy from you that's off-putting. It's because you're very in your head, which is a very masculine, get shit done kind of mentality. And you're not really in your heart of, like that feminine, like, hi, it's so great to meet you. And I'm glad we're having this drink and this conversation, and tell me about yourself, and that you're there with openness and an energy of tranquil and open. A lot of women are like, very, oh, hold on a second, let me look at my phone real quick. And they're like, oh, I have to make sure, this, that. No, you don't. No, you don't. And you're doing it to yourselves. You're doing it to yourselves. So one of the things that I'll be talking about at this Green Monkey event next week on Wednesday, the 14th, is how to handle overwhelm and how to look at your life in a way where you step into your power and you step into having more control over the time in your life and how you're using it, and the different aspects and different buckets of your life that need to be attended to, that if it's too lopsided, it's just not good. It's not healthy for you. And you'll notice it manifesting in either physical wear and tear. You'll start getting pains and things. And a lot of the people who I coach are, I would say, the sweet spot, 35 to 50. So we are not spring chickens anymore. And the last thing we want to do is have a heart attack, which is what happened to a client's friend. So I have a client, and her friend and colleague almost died. He had to literally take himself in a taxi or whatever, or an Uber, to the hospital, to the emergency room. He was like having a heart attack, had a heart attack. And this guy is not even, I don't even think he's like 51 years old. I don't even know if he's 50. I think he's like about to be 50. So I see this all the time. I see a lot of people, who find themselves in their careers in this place of uncertainty, and they are scared and living in fear and living in a place of scarcity. And it's hard. It's very, very difficult. But what happens is you get in this cycle and this spiral of, I don't want to work late, but I have to work late, because if I don't work late, they're going to fire me. And then if they fire me, then I can't live and provide for myself. And so it creates this cycle of scarcity and lack and fear, instead of living abundantly with trust and faith that you basically get paid from the divine, right? Yes, you have a job, but there's something higher and greater that provides for all of us. And when you shut that out and you're very linear and you're thinking, okay, so I have this job and this job pays me so I can live. You're living in a very headspace. When you open your heart up and you start to say, wait a second, I am a divine being with gifts. I have purpose. I have value. I am worthy. And my check is not written by any company or any person. It's written from the divine. And so if I ask, divine source, where will you have me go? What will you have me do? What will you have me say? And to who? I know that asking those very questions will result in an opportunity. For me personally, a speaking engagement, some clients, someone will read an article, find me online, whatever. Clients are always coming, right? So I can't obsess over the how they're going to find me. I just know if I put out great content with love in my heart for a purpose of helping other people, then I just kind of throw it up there and say, all right, whoever's going to see this, if it resonates with them and they're like, holy shit, I have to get with this girl. Oh my God, I've been like freaking out over my job and whatever, and it's messing up my love life. I have no love life. I don't date, whatever their issues are. It's common. And so we help, people with that all the time. And it's certainly something that comes up, whether people are couples, singles, people getting over breakups. Everybody I ever coach always comes back to this work-life harmony that they want to have, but they don't know how to have it. So I'll give you some quick tips, right? I'm going to tell you, look, I feel you where you are, and I know it's tough, right? Because I went through this and I know what it is. But number one, you have got to give yourself what you need. You have to. You need to give yourself what you need. And that might be something as simple as setting a reminder on your phone to refill your little water bottle at your desk. Get up and stretch and walk around and say hi to people if you're in an office setting, and get the blood moving and the energy flowing, because then it stifles your creativity if you're not hydrated, if you're not walking around, if you're not elevated and you're just sitting the entire day. Not good. You're going to gain weight. You're going to stifle your creativity. Creative energy has to flow. Energy has to continue through you. And if that's not happening, then you're in trouble. So remind yourselves every maybe top of the hour, set your little alarm on your phone and take a break away from the computer. Maybe do a little stretchy stretch. Maybe shake out your hands. Do this kind of deal where you're on the computer. See, mine's just cracked. My wrist cracked. My fingers cracked too. Fill up your water. Get hydrated. And that's, certainly something that you can do. Another thing that you can do is have a wake-up time and a morning ritual. So I know a lot of people who are like boku bazillionaires, they all talk about the importance of a morning ritual, meaning time for yourself before anyone else even talks to you. And if this means that you need to get up a half hour before everybody else, make the most of those 30 minutes, whether it's meditation, journaling, getting your thoughts aligned with how you want to set your intention for the day, looking at your to-do list and really getting a handle on the things that are super important that you're going to do first, and just really setting your intention for the day. This is the kind of day you're going to have. Maybe some gratitude, like what are you thankful for? You're given another day. A lot of people fare very, very well when they start to embrace a morning ritual. And like I said, it could be your thing, whatever it is, meditation. I've been doing a plank challenge. So every morning before I set foot into my shower, I do planking. And that basically is a thing where you like lay flat, and you could either do it with your arms up or on an elbow thing, and you plank, and you basically hold that position and you're shaking. It's crazy. And I've been doing it for like 30 seconds, and then I got to 45 seconds, and now I'm doing it for a full minute, and I'm doing it in the morning and I'm doing it in the evening. And then it's just the thing to do that taps into my strength. It helps me to really love my body and be super intentional about my just feeling my muscles and like, oh my God, that strength. It's just like it uplifts me. It's great. And the other thing that I do too is I handle a lot of my social media in the morning. And I know that a lot of people say like, oh, you shouldn't go on your phone in the morning and whatever. But for me, I like to start conversations because I use social media. I don't let it use me, right? So I'm very intentional with the social media, and I pose a question on Facebook, and I'll think about, what is it that people want to know about, talk about, whatever, what's timely. And I'll throw out a question, and then I'll let the conversation happen, and I'll chime in like later. So as long as I have a post on Instagram, a post on my Facebook, a post on maybe Twitter, I'll kind of fire that off. It takes 15 minutes. It's nothing. And then I'm free from it and I'm done. And then I can have a breakfast. I can go walk Taz. I definitely have like a 1 hour settle into my day morning ritual. Sometimes I even hit the beach. I got to walk down at the beach. I'll have Taz off his leash in that early part of the morning. He's allowed. And I just breathe in the ocean air, and I just like, oh, it's just so good to be with nature. So if you're out there and you could, stand in your backyard with your feet on the grass, or go for a walk in the morning, like a super brisk. I know the weather's changing up north. A lot of people that tune into me, they're in different parts of the country, and it's not like Miami, Florida, where I have a beach right walking distance from me. But I used to live up north, and I know what it's like when that November chilly happens. So perhaps it's early in the morning. Maybe it's, going for a brisk walk with the dog, no phone, no nothing, maybe some good music in your ears, just something for you. Morning ritual, very important. And the other tip that I will give you is a exit time for work. So if you work somewhere and you don't have, I'm calling it at this time and everyone knows it, even though I worked in New York at PR firms like 10 years ago, I always had a hard boundary with when I left for the day. I lived at the time in New Jersey. I was married at the time. And a big value that I always had was I want to eat dinner as a family. I want to eat dinner with my husband. I don't want to have this thing where I'm standing over the sink. He already ate, I already ate. And it was bad enough that we were already somewhat disconnected just because of the exhaustion of the lifestyle, the grind of it all. That to not have that conversation, or to at least not have the thing where we're cooking in the kitchen and we're catching up with each other in that regard, I had to have a hard boundary with that. And I said, okay, listen, the hours of this job, it's 9 to 6. And I don't live in Manhattan in a room, in a whatever apartment that's like the size of, nothing. I have a home. I have plenty to go home to. And so I'm out of here. Like between, 6 and 6:10, I'm out. And I never had an issue. I was never fired from a job because I didn't stay till 8 o'clock. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit ever. And if you're playing that noise and that story in your head where you're like, oh, I have to stay late, that is your issue to solve. That is your issue. It's a story that is being perpetuated for some reason, and you need to nip that. I never once worked any later than I really needed to for the job at hand. There were times where I had events and things, and of course I had to stay, but I treated myself well. Like if I was out working the night before, past 9, 10, 11 at night, I came in the next day at like noon, or I worked from home. Like I knew how to take care of myself. I knew to give myself what I needed. And I did very well. I mean, I was killing it. And I still maintained that value of, no, I leave because I want to go home and have dinner with my husband, and I want to be with me. I want to have my own time. So that's certainly something. Have a time where you are done, where you are cutting it. I have a client where she does not have that. She has open access for everybody, and she does not know how to cut it off. Now, this goes to the next issue. If you have a problem cutting off the work time, saying no, you're yesing people, you're giving them your time, you're giving them access, and you don't have hard boundaries with people, especially in the work category of your life, there has to be something going on beneath that. So what I encourage people to do is ask themselves, why do I do this to myself? Why do I work this way? Why? What is the win? What am I trying to prove? Bunch of questions, bunch of journal questions, people journaling or thinking of in their own heads. Where did this come from? Where did I first get some kind of win for working very hard? I had a client who remembered a memory that she had this science project and she worked so hard. She was working on it for 2 weeks straight until like 9 p.m. and her dad was helping her with it. And it became a thing where they had a lot of quality time spent together during this. So in her subconscious mind, she equated reward in the form of attention from her father with work. If she was working, she got attention from her dad. And then it became a thing where her dad would often ask her about work. So the only time that they would have these conversations, it was work related. So she felt like, oh my God, I have to kill it in my job. I have to be awesome at my job so that I have something to talk about with my dad. And so this is how the subconscious mind like plays out for us, right? We all have these things that happened to us when we were little. And if we don't solve them and soothe them, they will manifest themselves in other ways in our lives. And it's interesting when you sit down a minute with yourself and you ask those questions, what is the win in this? Like, I'm working 14 hours a day. Like, really, what is this about? And not to mention, if I'm working on something 14 hours a day, do I love it? Do I really love it? Or am I doing it because I have to do it? Am I doing it because, like, yeah, I get to do this. This is cool. Or am I doing it because I'm in a place of fear and worry and concern, and if I don't do it, no one else is doing it? Or if I don't do it, I'm bad. People are going to think I'm worthless. People are going to think my value is down because I'm not creating anything or doing anything. And, to tell somebody that I just took a day off for myself, what did you do? You took a day off for yourself to do what? Like, they look at you like you're crazy. Oh, I went to the spa, I got massages, I chilled out and whatever. And they put their inability to do that for themselves on you. So that is my message for tonight, you guys. I'm hopeful that you are able to reach a very healthy, harmonious place. It's not necessarily work-life balance. Balance is kind of bullshit. It's more about harmony. It's more about, being called to work on something that you're passionate about, because that's what you deserve, right? And the people that you're doing this for, the service that you're giving, they deserve that too. And if you're all bagged out, wiped out, bitchy, tired, you're not showing up good for anybody, right? You're not showing up good for your spouse. You're not showing up good for your significant other. If you're in a relationship, you're not showing up good if you're looking to date. Certainly blocking any kind of love from coming when you're just like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I can't even, how am I going to muster up the energy to even go out with this guy tonight? Oh, who wants to date that? No one. And guys with women, if you're just space cadet and you're off in another planet while you're trying to bond and connect with a woman, it takes more than just throwing nice money at a dinner. You got to be present, and you have to know how to speak about yourself in a way that is not only about the work, right? So there's other stuff that has to go on with you as a whole person that other whole people will want to know about you. So handle your work, handle your play. Work hard, play hard, work smart, play smart. Have a blessed, well-rounded, amazing life. I am Lisa Concepcion. You can Google me. You can find me on YouTube, actually. You can find Lisa Concepcion. Just search my name there. Or LoveQuest Coaching. Very easy to find. I wish you love and light. God bless. Bye.